G'day, how you doing? Adam here from Poseidon Racing with a ZED RUN update. Exciting week. Last week, a few days ago, we had brand new horses, Genesis horses, dropped in the marketplace. About 400 odd horses, I believe, and they sold out completely within 24 hours. Absolutely incredible. We still have another, well, I've got the screen open over this side, and we still have another 2 days, 5 hours and 12 minutes until the next drop of Genesis horses. But interestingly, or it's going to be interesting, to see whether the Z team decides to drop more horses this time, or whether they drop the same amount of horses, and what price point they're going to put them on. Are they going to drop more horses but leave them at the same price? Are they going to drop the same amount of horses but bump the prices up a little bit? I mean, the demand is certainly there. I know there's a lot of us, or a lot of you guys probably watching this video with your fingers crossed, hoping that the prices are not going to go up. But if history tells us anything, often they do. Often when they sell out like that, the team has then bumped the prices again for the next time. Now, I guess one thing the Z team need to be a little careful of, and I'm sure they're looking into this or considering this, is that it creates a great deal of hype when they do sell out relatively quickly, whether that be within a couple of hours or a day or two. We probably, or what I wouldn't like to see, is that they drop a whole bunch of horses and they sit there for, you know, a month, 2 months, 3 months, because that would suggest that we've found the top of the market, and we probably want to keep the hype going and have them sell out pretty quickly. So I'd probably like to see them maybe do something the same, drop about the same amount of horses at about the same price, and hopefully they sell out within, who knows, this one could even sell out faster because it's been hyped up a lot more with the countdown clock and whatnot. So they might sell out within a couple of hours. I know there's a few out there that are hoping, fingers crossed, that one of those super rare colours gets dropped up in the high Z numbers. Now, I'm not sure exactly how that works. I'm not sure exactly how those rare colours are assigned, whether it's a slightly random thing or whatnot. But anyway, it looks like there's not many of those rare colours and super rare colours left in the lower Z numbers. So in the Z1s, 2s, 3s and 4s. There might be a few, but who knows? Maybe we'll get one of those drop in this particular batch. Now, that aside, what I wanted to talk about was racing. I mean, there's a lot of new players coming in, a lot of new faces on Discord. If you are looking to contact me, a lot of people think that I'm not on Discord. I am. I don't post on there at all, really, but you can contact me via Poseidon Racing. Okay, so at Poseidon Racing will tag me, or you can go to your messages in Discord and you can message me that way. If you're looking to, who knows, if you're looking to buy horses, I've got horses, they're always all for sale. If we get the right money, they're there if you're interested. Okay, I bought a couple yesterday and sold one as well. Even though all the markets are seemingly closed, you can still get and do some sales via trust in any case. All right, that being said, what I wanted to talk about was how to essentially not waste your money racing. There's a lot of new players, and what us older racers see, and we love it, when we get a big boost of new players come in like we did the other day, is, and we all do this, we did this when we first started, new players, and I was the same, new players are much more inclined to have a punt. You know, to throw a horse in a paid race when it might not be suitable. And that's fine. You learn your lesson. You lose your first, well, you might get lucky and you might win a couple early on, and that's great. But often what happens is you might lose your first $100 or $200 worth of racing over the first few days or weeks. And you think, wow, well, this game kind of sucks. I'm not sure I can keep doing this. But the point is that you haven't really learned the ropes yet. And it's not the game that sucks. The game's awesome, trust me. But it's your decision making is a little bit skewed, and you're inclined to have a punt because it's exciting and you want to get your horse in there and you want to test it and maybe win a big jackpot race or a big dollar race. But your decision making, or the information to base your decision on, may not be there yet. So what do we need to do to make a decent, or at least not lose money, at least break even to start with. That would be a good point. If you can break even over your next 100 races, that is absolutely incredible. And then from there, once you dial that down and get all the information in, you can start making money over the following however many races, hopefully. And then when we get the big surge of new players come in, and there's going to be a lot of waves in the next 3, 6, 12 months as this game grows, we only have, I don't know, actively in the game at any one time, 200 or 300 players, if that, and actual races, probably only, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'd be guessing maybe 100 or so at any one time. So as we get these new floods coming in, once again, the races get slightly weaker because the new players are keen on throwing horses in and having a bit of a punt, trying their luck. But often those horses aren't quite up to paid racing in the long term. Okay, so what information do we need to enter the various paid racing? Well, there's only 2 factors. There's probably more factors, and there's going to be more factors introduced. But currently there's only 2 factors that I'm concerned about. And that is the average starting price or starting odds. And you'll find those odds when the race gets 12 horses in it and it goes to the next to run list. If you go to zest.play, is it? Hang on, let me type it in over here. Zest Play. If you Google Zest Play, and the actual URL is picks, P-I-C-K-S, playwithzest.com. Okay, but if you type into Google Zest Play, you'll find it. And once those races go to 12, they fill up to 12 and they go to next to run, you'll find the odds in here. Actually, let's switch screens for a moment. Let's switch screens. This here is zest.run, picks.playwithzest.com. You'll see that up there. And if we go to this race here, I don't know that I've got any horses running. Here we go here. I don't have any in this race, but what have we got? These are the odds over here. Now, the lesser the number, the lower the number, the better the chance of the horse winning. Okay, so you've got 8 to 1, that's pretty good. Anything below 12 is good, is pretty good. I mean, if you can get down, occasionally you will see a horse that's running at $3 or $4 or $5. In this race, the shortest one, this is a very, very good odd, is $6. That's exceptional, okay? That's probably a very good paid runner, that one maybe. Now, okay, so that's one element, is the odds, all right? Now, you also need to be careful of the odds as well, because you need to watch the odds history. You could get 6 to 1 or $6 like we see here in one race, and then the next race you could be 30 to 1. All right, you might have had a particularly weak race with not very many good horses, and then you go into a paid race and all of a sudden your horse is $25 or $30, okay, on the odds. And you think, well, you know, maybe if I saw one of my horses at 25s or 30s, I probably wouldn't enter it in too many more paid races. So you need to sort of keep a gauge on that odds history. And it also makes a difference whether you're racing in, for example, a free race grade 5, you might get really good odds, but then if you happen to enter a paid class 1 race, you could be 40 to 1, okay, $40 odds. Okay, so keep an eye on that. It depends on which races you enter. You might have a horse that has pretty good odds in class 5 and class 4, but once it gets to class 3, it may no longer be profitable because it's out to $20 or something like that. But you can still keep an eye on it. There are horses that can profit with the higher odds. They don't win a lot, but they tend to place really, really consistently. So the better you know your horses and keep an eye on it, and the average odds, or tracking those odds, is really important. But at the end of the day, once you find a horse that has good odds in free races, then by all means, if it's got $6 odds like here in a 1400, you can see the race distance here at 1400. The distances do matter. So I said there's only 2 things, but there's variables, okay? So the distance is going to potentially matter. You could have a horse, for example, that is very, very good odds at 1,000, 1,200 and 1,400 races, but then is pretty ordinary at 16, 18, 2,000 and higher. So you need to track the distance, the grade, So each time you enter your horse, you need to track the distance, the grade of race, the odds number here, and the result, the finish place, first, second, last, whatever it happens to be. Okay, now each individual distance is a sort of a category to itself. Just because you have a horse that performs really, really well at 1600 doesn't necessarily mean or guarantee that it's going to be great at 14 or 18 either side. Okay, so each distance needs to be tracked. So each horse and each specific distance need to be tracked individually. Okay, so get yourself an Excel sheet, put the horses' names in there, put all the distances along, and then track the odds and the result for each race. Now, what it comes down to, what you're really looking for is a horse that has low odds in a particular distance and also a high percentage winning rate in that particular distance. Now, it sounds a little bit overly complex, but it's really not. Once you get those stats sort of collated together, all you're looking for is low odds and a winning percentage above, say, well, I like to have a winning percentage above about 15%, but even 10% is probably profitable if it is winning 1 in 10 races in a paid race. Okay, because by the time it gets a few places, seconds and thirds, it's probably going to still make pretty reasonable money. But if you can get 15% win rate and a low odds, that's what you're looking for. Okay, so once you get to that point where you've probably lost enough money and you think, all right, I need to dial this in, what we do, or what I've done in the past, is when I get a new horse and I've decided I am going to race it, because some of the horses I keep brand new in the box, okay? But if the ones that I'm going to race, I'll generally race them in free races first. And if I see that in a particular free race I've got odds of $5, $6, $7, something like that. Let's say I've got a horse that runs a 1600 free race and it has odds of $6. Then what I'll do, I'll look out for a free race in that same distance and I'll enter it in there. And that'll be the one that will really tell me the story. If I enter it in a paid race, did I say free? Sorry, I meant paid. Once it's got the free race low odds, I'll look for a paid race in that same distance and I'll enter it into that paid race, and that will be the one that really tells the story. If that paid race, the odds are still under 12 to 1, then I'll continue to enter. 10 to under 10s is what I'm really looking for. Under 12s, I'll still test it, because you could get 12s in one race and then you enter that horse in the same distance, same class, against a different field, and it might be 9s. And that would be a decent paid runner, potentially, as long as the win percentage somewhat matches those odds, because, and there's a big because, there are underperforming horses and overperforming horses. Now, I don't know exactly why that is as yet. I'm trying to figure that out. But what I mean by underperformers, if you have a horse that shows odds of 10 to 1, it should win 10% of the time. And a 5 to 1, it should win 1 in 5 races, essentially. Okay, and a 6 to 1, 1 in 6, essentially. 20 to 1, 1 in 20. Okay, now what tends to happen though is you get horses that are 8 to 1, winning closer to 20%, so closer to 5 to 1 odds. That's an overperformer. If you have an 8 or a 9 to 1 horse that tends to win 1 in 5 races or something like that. Okay, you've got some incredible Class 1 horses, the likes of Ducky Malone, Breathless Edge, Insane Him, Supreme Polarity. Is that right? I think that's right. The Lobster. Big shout out to the Lobster. A great horse, Supreme Polarity. It's really come back into the paid races lately, and it scares me when I see that horse in the races, as probably Breathless Edge and Insane Him scare other people. So you get a race with all these big guns. Alloy is another one that's very, very good. Slander Unlimited, very, very good as well. And there's a whole bunch of others. But what you'll tend to see is there's some really good horses like Ducky, Insane Him, Breathless Edge. Their odds might be 7s, 6 7s, even out to 10s, but they still win 1 in 4, 1 in 5 races. So they're incredible overperformers. Now, whether that's a fact of that they got a great start and there's something to do with if you win, then you're more likely to keep winning, I don't really know as yet, but it might be. But the issue is with overperformers, so horses that perform better than their odds suggest, you get underperformers. You will get horses that have odds of, 8s, 9s, 10s as well, that, might run 20 races at that distance and not get a win. Or they'll get a win 1 every 20, something like that. But they should be getting, at 10 to 1, they should be getting 2 every 20. So you'll get these underperformers. So you need to keep an eye on. The point being, to be a successful racer. Now those underperformers, I've had underperformers before that all of a sudden go on a hot streak and turn into overperformers. So don't necessarily give up on underperformers too early. But I don't know where that balance is. And that'll have to be up to you when you sort of say, well, I've entered this horse in 30 races and it hasn't won yet. Do I give it away and try another horse? Or what? Or do I keep persisting and hope that it comes good? And it may well do. I've had several horses that have come good. I've had horses that I finally gave up on after many, many attempts and they still didn't win. So that being the point, keep your eye on that. But that comes back to the whole point. You've got those two categories. You've got distance, individual distance, and then you need to look at average odds and also win percentage. If you get a horse that has average odds under 10 to 1 and a win percentage 10% or better, you've got yourself a paid racer that you can probably keep putting in that distance time and time again and get results from that horse. Okay, so I hope that helps. They're the ones that's what I'm looking at for paid races. Now, as I said, newbies out there, you're going to probably have a punt early on, either get lucky or unlucky and lose some money. You might win some money, but probably you need to learn that lesson, that you can't just punt and put any old horse into any paid race and cross your fingers. You need to do it with a little bit of, I suppose, information-based decision-making behind it, because yes, you can put your horse into a paid race and see what those odds are and see what the results are. And again, I tend to go free racing to give me a bit of information about paid, and then I'll drop my horses into the cheaper paid races to have a look. And if it looks good at the cheaper paid races, I'll start working my way up to now where I've got my horse Insane Him that I can drop in pretty much any distance at any prize value and know over the long term, at the moment, he does reasonably well and returns a profit at most of those distances. Okay, guys, I hope that helps. I want you to be as profitable and as winning as possible so we can keep building this community. And as I said, as the new players come in, those races get a little bit weaker, those new players will drop off and learn the game, then it gets stronger again. Okay, stronger and stronger again. But it's such a fun game. Try that, see how you go. Hopefully it helps you to improve your bottom line on paid racing as well. Thanks again for watching along. If you love the video, hit subscribe. Only about 30% of you are currently subscribers. So what are the rest of you doing? What are the rest of you guys doing? Come on, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Hit the like, share it around. If one of you wouldn't mind sharing it, I should be able to, I'll give it to Rod to share on the Discord. If you're interested in horse sales or you've got any questions, you can message me on Discord. As I said, search at Poseidon Racing, I think it is, something like that. It will pop up in the search bar. Anyway, if you have trouble, leave a comment below. Thanks for that. Catch you next time. Bye for now.